Hi, my name is Martin Perhiniak. Welcome back to the digital art series here on PSD Touch Plus. This is the 10th episode, and this time I'm going to show you another way of sketching. In the last episode, I mentioned that we are going to practice the shading techniques that we've learned in the previous episodes. But before we get to that, today we will prepare some thumbnail sketches for the main example that we are going to use for practicing shading. Today I'm going to draw these sketches that you can see here, as I would like to create a spaceship, and before I do the perspective drawing with the shading on it, I want to make sure that I like the form of the spaceship. This technique, when you create these thumbnails, is really fast and quite easy to learn. And it is very different from the sketching technique that I showed in the 5th episode, when I was using an image of a person on the left and I was drawing on the right, trying to match the proportions and the movement. So the sketching technique that I'm going to talk today is better for objects like spaceships, robots, cars, weapons, basically any kind of object, where you can easily play with the form and the proportions. You just would like to capture quickly the outline, and once you are happy with that, then you can move further and you can develop the form even better in perspective and have the rendering on it with the shading. And then you can add all the little elements. So that's what we are going to do in the next episode. But first we have to come up with these sketches, and we have to choose one of them that we are going to do in the next episode. To draw these concepts took me nearly an hour altogether, but to make it faster and more interesting, I will make it faster for you, but using a speed that you can easily follow and understand all the steps that I'm using. Actually, the technique is really easy, so it won't be difficult to follow. So let's get started. As you can see, I already started drawing the first spaceship on the left, and I'm just using a simple brush, one of the default brushes of Photoshop, and I'm drawing with a pressure sensitive tablet using pressure sensitivity also on the brush, and I'm just using black and I'm blocking in the forms that I would like to use for the spaceships. So I have the first one quickly on the left, and I already started drawing the second one. Sometimes I like leaving an idea and then going back later on. It just helps me to be flexible and to come up with new ideas. So that's why I'm drawing the second one now. And you can see I'm using also the eraser tool for drawing these little lines, which helps to describe the form even better. I will use that a lot later on. So basically I'm switching between the brush tool and the eraser tool. Here's the third one. I already started drawing the third spaceship sketch. And I try to be very flexible and just start drawing something, then quickly make changes to it. So I definitely don't want to work on small details. I just want to have a rough idea of the form and the shape. And as you can see, I already started drawing the fourth one. So at this stage, I don't want to have any restrictions about the size, about the form. So I'm just trying to experiment with geoforms and proportions, and I just would like to capture different characters for these spaceship concepts. So there's the fifth one, and again I start to use these construction lines using the eraser tool, which helps me to define the shape better. So you can see more 3 dimensions after I start using these construction lines. So there's the fifth one. And I'm going to draw another one quickly, another shape. I'm trying to be different each time, but there's so many variations because with the spaceship it's a really abstract form. You can be really creative and just break all the rules and just try to come up with something new. It's quite difficult to come up with something new, but still you can always try and just explore different lines and different ways of describing a form. So that's the sixth one. I'm going to draw some weapons as well, because some of these ships looks more like battleships. Okay, and I'm on the left. I continue drawing the one on the left in the second line. As you can see, again, I'm using the eraser tool and I'm adding these construction lines, again, to define more the form and the shape. Okay, so as you can see, I added much more detail onto that one. And I'm going to continue after I finish that one. I'm going to continue the first one. So you can see now how I go back to the first idea, and again, using the eraser tool for construction lines, I'm exploring different ways for the cockpit and for the wings. So I'm still looking for the best way to describe this form and to fill in the shape. If I'm not happy, I'm just simply undo my steps. But you can also use the brush and the eraser tool to quickly draw over elements, because at this stage it's not about the details, it's more about the whole feel to a character or an object. And as I said, you can mainly use this technique for objects, but you can also use it for humanoid figures, monsters, or even people. But I prefer to use it for objects. And I think it really works well with spaceships. So you can see the details are there on the first one. Now I'm continuing working on the third one on the right. And I'm using the eraser tool now to remove parts. So again, shaping with the eraser tool by removing lines. It's also an interesting thing. So sometimes it's easier to build something by removing parts of a block. And with this design, I really like the flow of the wing. So I wanted to emphasize it with the construction lines. Now I'm working on the second one in the middle on the top. Again, I'm using the eraser tool, and as you can see, but as I start to remove parts or erase parts, it becomes more interesting. And also, the more little elements you put on a concept, the bigger it will look. Because like that one in the second one, and like the first one in the second line looks bigger than the others, even though it's the sketch itself is not bigger, but the spaceship feels bigger because they have lots of little details on them. So these, now you can see I'm erasing small parts on the outline, and those small little details can help me to describe or emphasize the size and that this is a large spaceship. So once again, using the eraser tool to build is an interesting way when you are working with these thumbnails. And now I'm again working a bit more in the middle on the fifth spaceship. By the way, I'm using just the background layer. In this case, you don't even need to bother using layers. If you want, of course, you can use separate layers for each of the spaceships. If you want to resize them or move them separately, layers will help you to do that. But In this case, I don't really want to spend time on using the layers, so I'm just simply drawing with the brush tool and the eraser tool. So I'm still not happy with the wing on this concept, so I'm changing the shape of it. Again, removing some parts with the eraser tool, working up some details, and defining the form. So that's done. I have 6 concepts already, but I still would like to work up 3 more, just to be on the safe side. I would like to explore a couple of more ideas that I have in my head. And a good thing with this technique, sketching technique, is that even if you don't have any ideas what you would like to draw, you can still start just doing a sketch without knowing what you are going to draw. And once you start to draw these blocks, it will take form and will help you or inspire you to continue drawing. So even without any ideas, you can still start using this technique to draw, and then once you have a couple of lines or blocks, you will be able to continue from that point. So I really like this flexible way of sketching when you are not confined by any rules. Here on the last one, I would like to also show you that using dynamic lines can help you when you want to draw something which is related to speed, like a vehicle, in this case a spaceship. So I was drawing with very quick and fluid lines from left to right, so that helped me to make the spaceship look or help to build the aerodynamics for this spaceship. Okay, and again I'm using the eraser tool to add just a couple of lines, construction lines, to define the form better. And I'm going to do the same thing here in the middle on the bottom spaceship. Again, I'm using the eraser tool to remove parts, and as I said, the smaller parts you remove, the larger the whole spaceship will look like, because there are these small details which emphasizes the greatness of the spaceship, the scale. And now I'm going to work on the last one here on the left at the bottom. Again, I'm using construction lines, and I try to think of the details, what I would like to have there. And I'm almost done with all of them. Using the eraser tool again to remove parts. And that's it. So that's all. And obviously you can always continue working on these thumbnail sketches, but I recommend to be quick, and instead of working on small details at this stage, just try to come up with lots of different ideas, and then when you have one of them which you like or prefer to work further, just choose that one and then work it up in perspective and do the shading. And that's exactly what we are going to do in the next episode. So if you like this tutorial, then please join me next time, and we are going to choose one of these spaceship sketches, and we will practice the technique that we learned in the previous episodes, how to draw something in perspective, and then how to use shading to describe or emphasize the three-dimensional shape. Thanks a lot for your attention today, and I hope I will see you next time.